What's poppin', people? It's Dante. This morning I have a very simple message to all street photographers. The world is a canvas. And not only when we put together a frame are we utilizing the foreground, the middle ground, and the background to set a stage and to use the world this way. We too are active participants in the drama. As much as we're photographing the actors, as much as we're photographing the drama of the street, we are active participants out there as life unfolds. We're there and we're close to life, both physically and emotionally, on the front lines of life. And to me, the easy part of photography is composition, right? The easy part of photography is finding a decisive moment and pressing the shutter at the right place at the right time, using light and shadow. All the technical side of photography is very simple, actually. The difficult part is putting your mind, your body, and spirit into the work that you make. Being there and being present when you press the shutter. And so me, as a joyous, childlike spirit who goes out there and treats the world as my playground, and the street as my canvas, and the street as my stage, I find myself in this spirit of play as I'm creating new images. And I find that this, to me, is what reflects itself back in my photography. And so, ultimately, I believe photography has nothing to do with photography, and a photograph isn't a composition. A photograph is a reflection of your heart, of your courage, of your lust for life. And so we're going to dive in to some random photos that I just threw together in a slideshow and discuss the images as we go. This, to me, was the perfect photograph to introduce this idea that the world is a stage. And so for some background information about this photograph, I was in a Palestinian refugee camp here in Jericho, photographing a young boy throwing a stone towards a rainbow over this beautiful dilapidated building. There's beauty in decay. There's beauty in the stage. There's beauty in the multifaceted complexities of life. And this is something I try to uplift in my photographs, and championing Ramsey with the rock, championing humanity through my camera and through my lens, using the light and shadow and the technical ability of me as a photographer, positioning my body at this moment and pressing the shutter in relationship to that moment, in relationship to that stage where I set the scene here, this very spontaneous moment here where it rarely rains in Jericho. This is a dry and hot desert. I saw rain here this one time, and it rained for 1 minute, and the rainbow lasted for 30 seconds, and I had to be quick and respond on my toes and photograph this moment as the stone was thrown, and everything sort of just fell together very naturally here. And by positioning my body at the front lines of life and being close to life and really being there and being present and being engaged with this new community, I was able to come home with this photograph. And to me, the photograph reflects this optimistic, joyous, innocent, childlike spirit who's looking over the horizon, who's gazing beyond the decay and looking towards a hopeful future with that rainbow as this symbol of optimism, of hope, of joy. And so for me, this photograph was the perfect introduction to this quick slideshow as we go through and just discuss this notion that the world is a stage. And all of the different actors and all of the different players are there for us to uplift and to champion in a photograph by using light, by using shadow, by following your joy. You can create images that reflect that back at you. And so as a practical and technical tip when it comes to photographing and treating the world this way, I'm going to showcase you a quick behind the scenes video of the way in which I use photography compositional techniques to create these images that set a stage. And so by being observant and being present and understanding the relationship of people and the movement of their feet on the street in relationship to the scene, in relationship to the stage, and positioning my body in a way that can create a very seemingly banal or boring moment and elevating it to something a bit more interesting and dynamic and emotionally impactful and engaging through the gaze of the man with the eyes looking through that mask on this winter day. I can put order to the chaos and the spontaneity. I can put order within the frame that I make by positioning my body here at a bus stop, by utilizing the reflective surface of the advertisement on the right and the back, and understanding the relationships between the light and the shadow and the way that people are positioned and waiting here and waiting for their bus as bystanders come through the frame. And so I use these bus stops, I use these choke points, these places where I can set a stage and set a scene and wait for the actors to arrive in my drama. And to wait there patiently and be observant is what this comes down to. It comes down to being aware with sharp visual acuity and strong observation skills with how you can utilize the foreground and the background and fill that frame with something that elevates the mundane. And so the world is a stage, and there's so much drama, and there's different things that you can juxtapose. There's different moments and different ways in which people pose. I mean, who knows what you'll find in the streets? There's so much chaos out there. There's so many details. There's so many gazes. There's so many people looking and walking and observing. There's anger, there's chaos, there's frustration. There's a lot of different elements out there that are complex, but you have to be quick on your toes to respond and to look at the eyes and the way that people gaze out into the world. You know, the way that people look, the way that people embrace emotionally, you know, the simple moment between a mother and a son, the simple moment of a group of friends enjoying a beautiful sunset, children playing in the street, you know, these elements that I combine in the frame with the simple window frame, the door, and the children playing in the foreground set the stage. Observing here in Jerusalem, the men coming in and out of the bathroom as they're praying at the Western Wall. Hanoi, Vietnam, photographing children playing by the water at Hom Kiem Lake. Men in the morning waking up early to work on their fitness and focus on that beautiful sunrise early in the morning. And as a photographer, as a side note, this to me is my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal in life, it has nothing to do with any of these things from the material world, any success or fame or fortune. My ultimate goal in life is quite similar to these old men here surrounded by Hom Kiem Lake, just eager to wake up and catch the sunrise each and every day. And to me, this is my goal in life, truly, is to just be eager and open and ready to go each day, eager to catch that sunrise. And so there's drama on the streets. There's emotions and moments on the streets. And there's these beautiful small moments during a rainstorm that you can uplift in a photo to not only give this sort of visual impact, but an emotional impact in a photograph. And there's complexity on the streets. There's people living in poverty. There's people doing drugs. There's people that are in the streets and not necessarily living in harmony with nature. But there are moments that you can find that are harmonious, that are succinct, that are beautiful and uplifting. And so there not only is beauty, but there's decay. Not only are we aligned with nature, but sometimes in this modern world, we lead ourselves astray through the decisions that we make. But alas, you find these beautiful, childlike, wonderful moments anywhere in the world. But despite this fact, there are struggles. And the joy and the resilience of people inspire me. And this playful energy that I possess as a photographer reflects back at me when I make pictures. And so by being open, without preconceived notions of what you will find, you will come home with a gift. The gift of the photograph, the gift of the experience, that moment, that memory that you can champion throughout your life. There's something beautiful about the world. There's something beautiful about the different locations that you can visit as a photographer and the way that you can use the environment as a stage. That you can set your camera and your body in a particular way in relationship to a beautiful moment to create and elevate the mundane to something extraordinary. When you're patient and you're persistent and you're observant of your surroundings and you recognize the movement of people coming in and out of the frame, you can seriously come home with these pictures that elevate the mundane. And to me, this is what it's all about. The monotonous everyday routine of people living in their communities and how we can uplift that in the photograph becomes a reflection of us being present, of being observant and being aware of our backgrounds, being aware of the moments that are fleeting and putting order to those chaotic scenes. But once again, a photograph is a reflection of my lust for life and my joy and my childlike spirit. My photographs that I create, they're a reflection of my courage, of my resilience too. As much as I'm photographing other people in the world, I seriously believe that the photograph does become a reflection of my soul. And so here we have two men embracing with a lovely and loving gesture, coming out of the mosque, sipping some coffee and smoking a cigarette. Just an everyday moment, uplifted to a new height. But the moments that we find can maybe sometimes make things a bit more extraordinary. Sometimes when we see a moment and we make a photograph of a moment and we come home and we review the photograph, it has us scratch our head, where the world isn't necessarily what it seems, and the serendipity and the spontaneity can take over, as life may sometimes be out of our control. But through the use of a camera, we can put order to that chaos, to that spontaneous moment, and come home with a frame. Come home with something that fuels your curiosity, that has you asking why, what is this, how? And I find that approaching the world this way, like a big playground, and I'm just a big kid, life becomes a beach. Life is a fun place, or the world is a fun place to explore. Life is a beach, and just treating the world this way, like a playground, and the street and the world as a stage, as a canvas, it really does fuel my lust for life, knowing that when I go out there, I can have these experiences that fuel my curiosity, that fuel me with love and joy. And there's something about just being present and being there when you photographed, and not just being a bystander on the sidelines. You're an active participant in the drama. And so I encourage you to go out there into the world like a kid, like a big kid with a camera, just curious. But remember that the world is our stage. The world is a canvas. And you possess the ability to tell these stories, to showcase humanity and to uplift it to a new height through, of course, the compositional decisions you make and the way that you frame a moment using lighting and timing and all of these superfluous details when it comes to photography. But remember that you must be there and to be present when you press the shutter. And to treat the world this way, for me, it becomes empowering. And I find that street photography, simply put, is a superpower, because I know no matter where I am in the world, no matter what time of day, or despite the weather and the external circumstances, I know that I have the ability to create something from nothing through photography. And so I go out there each and every day, just eager to catch the sunrise, eager to go out there and to explore endlessly. because I know that the world is a stage. And I'm not only an observer of life, I'm out there on the front lines of life, actively engaging and participating on the streets, just as much as I'm putting order to the chaos in my frames. And so, that was it though. Yeah, so, there's also conflict too. There's also violence too, right, in the world. And that kind of throws me off here at the end. Didn't mean to open that. I meant to include that because I wanted to show, like beautiful childlike moments and then like conflict and struggle moments. I tried to put that in, but I think I forgot to put that in. But it's okay. The world is a stage. Go out there and play. Thanks for watching.